Podcast starts at 19 seconds.
Welcome to a new episode of Fit the Description, a Black Men's podcast where various Black men come together to talk about life, society, entertainment, culture, news, and whatever else we want to talk about from various Black men's perspectives. I'm your host, G, and today we got B.
What's up, y'all?
And we'll probably have a few people join in at a later time. Now, with that being said, on your way in, make sure to subscribe and follow depending on your platform. Make sure to check out the Clips channel, Fit the Description podcast over there on YouTube. Also, I want to remind you that we are on Patreon. I do not work on it because we don't really have a big enough audience. But if you do want to go ahead and check that out and support, go ahead. Just make sure do not be on the most expensive tiers. It is unnecessary right now, so don't do that. And then we also have, which I know I got to work on, I say it every single intro, but I'll say it again. Yes, we do have an Instagram, opinion_peace_network. I will start uploading over there again, hopefully sooner than later. Oh, one more thing I want to make sure to let y'all know about. Just so you know, if you don't know, we actually do read up comments on this channel. So if you leave a comment down below, either on the Clips channel or the actual podcast, there is a chance we may actually go ahead and read off your comment in a future episode. And if it's really good, there may be a chance that one of us may invite you to have a conversation with one of us. But again, it depends on the individual person. So I recommend that y'all leave your comments down below for a chance to be featured on a future episode on this podcast. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to let everybody know who's listening to this podcast right now that today we're actually doing a pop-up podcast, which is when we just do podcasts randomly outside of our regular recording dates. And that's only because our next recording date, I'm not going to be available. So right now, we're going to get whoever we can to hop on, and we're going to go ahead and have a couple of conversations. So this one is going to run a little differently with again, I already said it's going to be different from how you normally do it. But this one is going to be a lot more off the cuff. So just letting y'all know, but that's what we're going to have to do this week, only because, like I said, our normal recording week, I am not going to be available. So we got to just, you know what? I'll remix that, just say that that's how much we care for y'all, that no matter what, we're going to try our best to always get an episode out for y'all that y'all can enjoy. Go.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? So there's been a conversation in hip hop. I'm concerned that the old hip hop or the older generation of hip hop artists is still getting the majority of the buzz, and the new hip hop artist is not really scratching. Except for the female artists, where the Stacey Red, Cardi B, the girls pretty much been dominating hip hop probably for the last 5 years.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, look at the quality of hip hop that we're producing right now.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised about that at all.
Mm-hmm. But it's been like this. It's concerning for hip hop that these old guys they're some complain that they're gatekeeping. Some that they're saying hip hop should never be a old man's game. It should be new for the youth and stuff like that. It's we're in the phase that we never really saw hip hop in a mature state. Of course, like I said, we have Snoop, he's still making music, Nas and stuff like that. But when you look at other genres of music like R&B or rock and roll, the artists are respected throughout all the ages, and you get a chance to not only enjoy the youth, but you get the chance to enjoy more mature music as you get older, right? and I feel like hip hop is having some type of problem with that. You know, you have the old heads are not really accepting the new, and you have the new heads not really accepting the old. They think that the old heads abandoned the new generation, which they kind of did. I'm not gonna lie about that. You know, because they ain't really put no one on. You know, who's Jay Z's protege? You know, who's Dre's protege or Nas protege? You know, I know they have been like influenced. Like they have people influenced by them. Right? Of course, Nas influenced a whole generation, but he never took someone under his mantle and brought them to the spotlight like that. Or let's say they did had a record label, you know, they'll sign them up, but once again, they never kept them there. They're like, okay, maybe they made like one album, then you'll never hear from them again, you know. And it just so the youth kind of had to come up on their own, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of like why the youth don't really recognize they're not really recognizing the old generation like that. You know, and the old generation, they're not really trying to communicate with the new generation. You know, only a few, you know, only a few are. It's kind of like this wall between, you know, say I want to say older, the old, kind of millennials and up and the younger generation. You know, I was trying to see if I could separate millennials, but no, because we understand the old still, and we still hold the values of the old generation, even though we understand the new generation as well. But we can still see that okay, a lot of stuff that they're doing is we we not there. We never really got there. I don't know. It's just like you and me. We both know that why the older generation still pop is because like I said, the quality of their music is just better. They have they're more versatile as artists, and as the artists today, they can't evolve past the trap sound, the drill sound, the murder gangs. I mean, all those guys that rap those songs now, they're like 25 now. That stuff gets old after a while as their generation's getting older, and they can't get past that. They can't find a new sound. You know, they can't extend their bars. They no, like we talked about yesterday, they're sampling our music in millennial music, you know, and they're not doing a good job with the sampling. So I get their art form of expression, but that art form doesn't have lasting power. It doesn't have a foreverness to it. Like that, people people can't tell me a memorable bar from these people. The babies and the little babies and you know or whoever's out nowadays.
So, okay. So you said a couple of things. I'll just say
Mm.
this. First off, um, that's not. I would say it's not that the old people are still being put on the younger generation. Isn't I don't. I mean, outside of women, I don't fully agree with that because I don't know if you heard, but even Method Man, when he went out to what was his Summer Jam, was like 2 or 3 years ago, he was like, man, like nobody was messing with him because again, he's the older generation. So there's definitely examples of like the older generation like really falling off. And I think it's just so yeah, I mean, but I would say when it comes to this new generation, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. But when it comes to this newer generation, I would say that there's no. I would more argue if they don't really have any staying power because most of them they sound very similar. There's no uniqueness. There's nothing that really sets them apart. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and they all sound the same. They use the same techniques. There's no real innovation going on right now. It's just all stale.
Right.
And that's really the thing. The younger artists not mess. I mean, the older artists not mess with the younger artists. Now, this is something that I was told from my cousin who's older than me. And
Uh-huh.
he basically told me, he said, no, a lot of these guys have tried, but again, a lot of these people have their own issues and can't get out their own way. So that's the problem. Like they come in and try to help some of these guys out, but a lot of them have their ego issues. They have their own like their own drama going on in the background that it makes it very hard to kind of help put any new guys on. So I think that plays a part in that does play a part in it. And
Right.
I just think that I don't think that some of the things you say I agree with. Some of the things I think there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to it.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, I mean, when I think about this new generation, what really can you say is really theirs? Like that, like literally started with them. That it wasn't like a remix of something else that the older generation's done.
Well, it's not.
Yeah,
It's,
there's not really any. There's a couple of things, like I said, like this generation of rap, but again, that started with our era. We were the kind of
mm-hmm.
foundation of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, people like say TikTok, Vine, the internet. We were the ones who started. We were the first generation that was on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what really is original to kind of your generation. You could say that's really yours.
Exactly.
But even beyond that, just getting back to the music, I mean, I'm not really surprised because I hear older generation all the time where they don't like, the new generation of music, but that happens with every generation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we were growing up, our parents hated us with hip hop. So
Mm-hmm.
that's actually very normal. And you're right, I definitely see definitely there's some rappers that definitely does support the younger generation. Like I definitely see them out there.
Yes.
But I also think that the music industry has changed things. I think the AI has changed things. I think social media really did a my fault. I think social media really did a number.
Mm-hmm. So streaming as well.
Streaming,
You know,
absolutely.
because like I said, these artists, according to what I've been hearing about streaming, yes, they could probably get 20 million listeners, but they're not making nothing, bro.
I don't know.
They're not making anything, man. So,
Yeah, they're making like pennies on what they would make.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're not selling albums. Like I said, Chalips, they dropped and look how much buzz they instantly got it.
Hmm.
You know. And the Chalips been dispatched for probably 10 years. I think that's the last album. No. I think the last album probably what 2012 or something like that. And like the Pusha T been relevant, but the group Calypso, they came back, brought Pharrell, add some suspense, kind of used Kendrick Lamar for bait, and you know, just like that, they became relevant again,
I mean, are they
just
relevant,
like that.
or are they there for? Because I don't know. Like I said, what you see, we need to get somebody with kids who could ask that question because it's irrelevant to us, yes, but are the kids actually listening to that music? That's the
Oh,
question.
that's a good question.
Yeah, because the kids they listen
Yeah,
to it, they're not really relevant. I mean, the only one I would say that's out there, and depending on the sales and all that stuff. So, like for example, Kendrick Lamar is definitely relevant,
yeah,
you know. But
that's a
are the
good question
clips
because
really
like the
relevant, or are they more relevant for our generation? As it because do we just have a lot more numbers of people than the older generation?
that's a good question because like I said, by how the by how the reviewers are reviewing the album, they make it seem like they're the biggest thing. But that's a good question to see if the actual kids are listening to it.
Hmm.
You know, Are they actually bumping cliffs? I'm not sure about that. You know, maybe if someone when kids come on, if they come on today, maybe we can ask that question.
You know.
Um, that's a very, very good question. Are kids listening to the cliffs?
Hold on, yeah, just
Trying to.
Hello?
hello, everybody here?
I think so.
All right, cool.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, Shibidi, you there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, he's telling he's just waking up. All right, so yeah, so basically right now, what we're talking about. Oh, what up, Norris? What up, Shibidi? Shibidi, thanks for coming on. I know you can't stay that long, but I just called you because yeah, we have a question for y'all who have kids. B, if you want to ask it.
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all know, but the Cliffs, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, they dropped an album, and according to the reviews, it, they pretty much came out as the biggest, the hottest thing right now. And according to me and G, we know Cliffs, and we know they're good, but we're trying to figure out if the kids today are actually listening to Calypso, or is it just our generation that's getting hyped about it? And we decided to ask you guys because you guys actually have kids. So we're trying to figure out, is the hype of Calypso album, is it reaching multiple generations, or is it just reaching the oldest? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So we had to ask the people who have kids that could actually answer that question because we can't.
Oh, uh, hmm. I could easily answer that, but I'm not the only one, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
uh,
Shibidi, you there?
I don't know. We were tired and working out. Who's the clips?
Did you say who's the clips?
Yeah. The people who made the grinding, like
Grinding,
grinding,
grinding.
grinding. Oh,
First of all, let's precursor that
I
real
didn't know.
quick.
Yeah,
Pronunciation
that
is
didn't
not
sound.
saying it
Too
properly.
many people talking at the same time. I'll let Shibidi go first, and then I'll let you go after Norris. So go ahead, Shibidi.
Nah, I don't know. Maybe it was the way it was pronounced that threw me off. I don't know who that was, but um, I don't think anybody's really excited about that. I'm pretty sure it's good, or whatever, but they don't really. I mean, as much as Boogie Sugar is his name, as much as he shows like he's that one. I'm well, Pusha T there. He he- I don't really see anybody searching for them. It's one of those things like they cool, and they came out with that song that hit, and he's a good rapper. But after that, they kind of just was there, but they wasn't there. Like I wasn't. I don't know. I just don't see nobody getting excited for them, especially my kids. They don't even know who they are.
Okay, okay. All right, go ahead, Norris.
Oh man, you want the
Can you
underground
speak up a little bit,
cities?
Norris, or can you get close to the phone? You sound a little far away.
My bad. I said y'all want the underground city stuff.
Whatever you
Uh,
yeah, whatever perspective you got, man.
I can tell you right off that they know of them, especially my two oldest.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, when it comes to pushing that new agenda with the newer generation, it's a bit different, and it's a task though, if that's what's wanting to be pushed or whatever. But nah, and what I mean by that is that's more for the old heads like us. And I go, for them, it could get to that point, but I don't know. Like, what I mean by that is if you trying to have a selling point for the youth and it be dedicated to the youth, there's certain things that you have to do and achieve. One of those things is like they're missing one of the big criteria is they haven't been doing that. Now I can get it with Pharrell. Why? Because he made Happy, those songs,
Right.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
But that doesn't work in the realm of this, of what we're talking about right now. And that's where I go, yeah, Pharrell got them credentials. You, on the other hand, is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, not disrespectful at all. Like, I'm just going, like, being honest, because I go, they don't know who you are. They've never heard any of your music like that. And I go, my kids have, only because I come from a different background.
Right.
And I go, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, for the general population, for the kids, I can't speak for them. But at the same time, I can tell you, nope.
Kids nowadays is not like us. When we used to listen to like oldies and shit, like they don't. It's only a handful of kids that do that nowadays.
All right, B, do you want to explain to where the premise of this conversation came from?
In
a short, in a condensed form.
Yeah, so this pretty much been this discussion that's going on. Pretty much a disconnect from the old generation and new, and there's been an argument of a concern that the older generation can get the buzz and still selling well compared to the new generation, and it doesn't feel like the new generation has taken over the game or is even recognized. The old generation still got a huge hold onto the hip hop, the main brand or culture. So there's just been a lot of debates of as to why has that been the case, and is that actually is a concern or not? What do you guys think?
I for sure can answer this one. It is, first of all, like, when you think about what you're talking about and stuff like that, it still has some of the older recognition in a sense of like what the standard is, and at the same time some new stuff. So what do I mean by that is, what's on the radio? What are these kids listening to? What are they streaming? What are they playing video games to?
Because they don't listen to the radio.
So what I'm saying is it's still the same game. It's still the same game in a certain sense, But at the end of the day, when it comes to them, they only hear certain things. And certain things gonna stick out to them. So like I'm pretty sure I'm not crazy. If I say it might sound crazy because I'm saying what I'm saying, but it's the truth. I'm pretty sure if they hear Baby Shark, they know what that is. They know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they hear what you're talking about right now, they don't know it. They're not, familiar with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming from things like the Netflix. That's coming from the, like distribution wise,
Right.
And I go at the same time of that, I go, the game's changed a little bit. It's not like how it used to be, but at the same time, it's similar, it's familiar. But for that one right there, it's one of those things of where are you taking the time to put that in a film that kids get to watch?
Mm-hmm.
And are the kids actually watching it?
Yeah, like, I don't know what to say besides it's got the same rules still now. And I go, my kids get to listen to like stuff like what you're talking about. So they're a little bit different in a certain sense. But if I were to ask them just straight off the bat, like how you asked me, they're going to pretty much I'm sure say the same thing.
My kids might not know something by name. They might, if they hear the song, they might be like, "Oh yeah, I know that song," but they're not gonna know too many old heads unless they like popular, like Snoop or something like that, or even Ice Cube. But they didn't even know Ice Cube was a rapper at one point,
Mm-hmm.
or Ludacris.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think of it like this: they grew up with Ludacris on Fast and the Furious.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't grow up with Ludacris hoes in different area codes, dropping bows. They didn't grow up with that version. Ice Cube. They grew up with Are We There Yet? They didn't grow up with the niggas with attitude. You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about that. You
My,
know.
my, my thing is, okay, so growing up, I knew all the music my parents listened to, by song, artists, everything. I knew the TV shows, what they went. I know it all. But it seems like in today's generation, it's like they don't know anything about us and our music and our TV shows. They don't know nothing.
We come from a cloth of force, and they're in the generation of is disrespectful and cruel to force anyone to do anything. So we were forced to eat shit that we didn't want to eat for health purposes. We forced these kids to try forcing a kid to eat anything. Good luck in this day and era. All that. What it is basically when you go over grandma's house or you go over your uncle's house, whatever, they're playing music. Now these kids could drown that stuff out. They get on the internet. They get on Fortnite. What I'm saying, is drowned out. I got into down home blues a little bit because I would hear it in the house, and I couldn't get out the house. So I know the song, and I kind of like it a little bit, but it ain't like I'm gonna just go to the store and be like, you know what, I want to buy the down home blues like that. No, no, it don't tickle me. But that's what they hear when they hear some of our older music. That's what it sounds like to them. It sounds like those kind of albums, and they music sound like trash to us because they got that whiny hip hop that they got now.
I think it's improper project creation, if that makes any sense to anybody. And I can break it down real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So what I mean by improper project creation is like from a kid's perspective, if that's I guess your goal or whatever, why aren't you creating atmospheres and environments that incorporate them? First and foremost, right there. That
Hmm.
that kind of says certain stuff, you know? Whether it be in the movies, whether it be just music only and stuff like that, or TV shows and all that stuff, you know? At this point, there's no excuse, I guess you could say, for project creation and you not incorporating it properly. So, like, I can say for a fact that certain individuals like Snoop Dogg have made efforts to make sure that their name lives on.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas clips, I can't say that. Not saying that they're
Right.
not tight to me, but I go, I'm not a kid anymore.
But
Um,
keep it 100. Name a clip song outside of grinding.
Off the top of my
This is
head,
Yeah.
like listen me to what's that one song called? Um, There's two more that I know. I know about this. I just can't remember the name.
My point is, Clips got other songs, but they're damn near one hit wonders. Group. But matter of fact, after grinding, they low key broke up, and they went solo. And
They made two more albums.
yeah, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like they broke up fast, like so far as they separated quick.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And they was cool or whatever, but they really like they not like I barely know their songs.
Mhm.
And it's my era. So I know that youngsters ain't gonna know that shit. That's all I can really think. I know they got other songs. If you play it or if you say a few words, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that song. But truth be told, the most I can remember is Grinding. And I like the shit. I like that shit he did with Maybach and Omarion, where he was featured on that. But like that's even newer. But like actually, so far as they should like, I can't think of nothing that I really. I can't really think of anything outside of grinding. I keep it
And I
100.
feel like I said, I don't think they properly built that out. If that's the goal, if that makes sense. Like that's never been like they can say that's the new goal or something now, which is okay. But
Oh, they don't care. I see that shit in the interview, but go ahead.
if that's the goal, then you gotta sit up there and make sure you cater to that, if that makes sense. Where Pharrell, I go in actuality, they have the proper connections to make stuff like that happen for sure.
Right.
But that is not like if that makes any sense of marketing wise. How much marketing budget have they put towards that, like at all?
Right.
And I'm not saying that I'm faulting them or their team or anything like that. What I'm saying is that's not been the case at all.
That's true. That's true.
So, like, I don't expect these children to, even know who they are.
Right.
And I look at it in the space of, it's predicated and dedicated to the kids and how it is. And I go, that's a whole topic right there in itself that people, if they really examined it, can see a whole lot of different stuff.
Mhm.
I still what I do with nostalgia and stuff like that. Like these kids, a lot of times, unless they're around a certain type of adults, they don't know what stuff is.
Right.
They don't know. They don't know. My daughter don't know the names of the Looney Tunes. She only knows she know the Disney because, like Laura said, they set themselves up for that.
Well,
They,
you know
you
what?
know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'm glad you brought this up because this goes into another topic that I wanted to talk about in the last podcast, and this is what they say. They say millennials have the greatest childhood, but the worst adulthood. How do you feel about that statement?
Wait, what did you say?
They say that millennials have the greatest childhood, but the worst adulthood. How do you feel about that statement?
Um, Let me get my thoughts together.
All right.
Um, in honesty and history, retrospect, and how things have been and grown to be and whatnot, we did. We had a great childhood. That is undeniable.
Mhm.
Um, Now, when it comes to adulthood, though, that's a whole different subject. You can't put those two sentences together. That's my feeling on it. And the reason being of that is, yes, we might have great childhoods, but adulthood, we're carrying stuff from other generations and some more stuff. Whereas there's a split beyond us that people don't even know about nor talk because they don't even know it. And I go, we're carrying the burden of the past, whereas
That's true.
the newer generation is not having to carry that. Which I go, cool. I'm glad y'all don't have to carry this weight. But at the same time, like there's so many different, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the break right there. I go, where's the breaking point? And I go, if anything, I go, where's the sacrifice? We might have had great childhoods and stuff like that, but where's the sacrifice? And what I mean by that is, if you look at it, we had a lot of different cool things that happened in our lifetimes as being children. But when it came to becoming an adult, whereas certain people got benefits and stuff like that, it's always said the millennial got this, the millennial got that, da 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 da. And I go, that's not 100% true at all. I go, last time I checked, we went through a few different, I'm gonna keep saying this, a few different world disasters. Where you went through one and thought you did the whole mostest. And I go, I'm not trying to do a compare and contrast because I go, that's competition stuff and whatnot. But in reality, in retrospect, if you have to look at the numbers, go ahead and look at the numbers. And I go, look at the total population at the time and look at the employment at the time. And I go and start comparing and contrasting all these different things. And I go, reality check, y'all need to be thanking us. And that's real talk right there. And I go, but that's something we learned because of our parents and stuff. I'm pretty sure for most of it. I can't speak for everybody. But I feel like most of us are in agreement that our millennials can say something like that of, no, we literally had to take on certain things, whether it be debts, this, that, and the third, and all kind of chaos in comparison where at least this newer generation is getting a cleaner cut.
Yeah, they don't have no ties to nothing.
Well, first, I just want to say I regret letting Norris go first. I wish I would. But anyways, I'll just go ahead and say, well, let me ask you all a question. When you hear when you hear the phrase "with great power comes great responsibility," what instantly pops into your mind? Start with Shibidi.
Spider-Man.
Okay, B.
Okay.
And B.
Uncle Ben.
So, I mean, I could go on and on, but I'll just keep it with that. But that's the point. I mean, that's why, like, even like on the internet, why you see so many people get angry about these fandoms and stuff. It's because, yeah, our childhood was really great. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's situation was great, but when you look at all the stuff we had to grow up with, got to listen to, I can honestly say that, yeah, like I think our childhood was amazing. We had the freedom to figure out who we were. We had the freedom to, be who we wanted to be to a point. Again, it depends on your parents, but for them, I mean, we had, like I said, we had legendary things that we remember. Again, like I said, just even though Spider-Man was technically way before us, but
You
still
know what I say?
with the cartoon,
My,
with great power comes
my
great
bad.
yeah, with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, we have an argument on this podcast all the time about things like Dark Reading Doug. Um, like I said, we talk about Martin all the time, which that was part of our childhood. Um, I mean, and I'm just talking about the entertainment stuff, but and like I said, we were the last generation that really got to see the world, even if it was for a small period of time without technology. Like I just like when I look at our childhood, we definitely had a really great childhood and a lot of great things going for us. Now, again, this is why I kind of regret letting Norris go first because he pretty much said everything that I would say in a better way. Where now, when you look at our adulthood, I mean, yeah, we went through multiple multiple world events, and we're still going through it. I mean, I know so many people. Like I tell people all the time, pretty much almost everybody who I grew up with who are adults now, unless they're in a relationship, they're all either back with their parents or their roommates. When before, like I forgot who I was talking to. Before, you could actually buy a house on a McDonald's salary. I don't ever remember a time like that. Like there's so many things that we don't have or we miss out on as adults. And yeah,
That's a misconception. Look, that was never. I did the numbers. I looked at that. That was never a thing. Well, go ahead, continue.
What
You
was
couldn't work at McDonald's. Work at McDonald's. If you were making minimum wage, it was never enough to be able to do that.
what
After
year?
looking it up,
What year are you looking at?
any year really. If you can go, you can ask chat if you want.
Huh?
I said you can ask chat if you want. I don't have anything in front of me. You know, I wasn't prepared to do this.
Yeah, I had the perfect person, but I can't call another person in because I'm on my phone. Because
Merv.
because somebody older than me, somebody older than us. Well, the oldest guy on this, second person, oldest person on this podcast, which is James, was the one who told me that.
Yeah, it's
I've heard,
never,
I've, I've heard it from, I've heard it from.
it's never been enough.
Well, I think it's easy for you to say that when you're not there. Like the numbers may not see there, but we weren't there, so we don't know what they had,
Right.
what deals they had.
Well, no, I had a conversation with an old head, and he brought it up, and then I did some research, and then after doing some research, I found that he was telling the truth. Minimum wage was never designed or meant to be able to do that.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. What did the old head specifically say?
Basically, I mean, it's been a while, dude. But basically, like it just what I just said, it wasn't minimum wage wasn't meant for survival. It was meant to just it was never meant to have be a living wage.
Yes.
That was never what minimum wage was for. So you typically minimum wage was never ever, if you could look at it, was never enough to be able to afford the things that our ancestors was able to afford. They were making more money than they were making more money than the minimum at the time, based off of their job.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think the argument is were they living good or were they living comfortable. The only statement what was stated was you could get a house on a McDonald's salary.
Well, you couldn't
So
get a house on the McDonald's salary, but it based off of that fact, because if McDonald's was a minimum wage job, you wasn't able to afford a house on a minimum wage job alone. You would have to be doing something else. Is what I'm saying. Is what the argument was, because that's where I was, and so I talked to him, and I was just like, back in the day, you could work at the local factory and be able to take care of your kids, and it's like, yeah, at the at the local factory, but not McDonald's or something like that. Not something that you're going to be making minimum wage only was never enough. That was like a teenager thing.
I don't agree. I'm gonna challenge you on that on purpose to see
All right,
to mess with the crowd and the audience that's listening.
all right.
Everybody wasn't necessarily living at that time and all that stuff too. But in all actuality, really look at the minimum wage during those years and count the prices up. And what I mean by that is they weren't always doing like apartment wise. I ain't even house wise yet. Apartment wise, they wasn't saying, oh, you gotta make 3 times this much to meet standard. That's the standard now, right? What did you say for apartments? So if that's the standard now, and before it wasn't even like that, if you go back to like the housing market and stuff, before the crash, this is before the crash and stuff like that, obviously.
say that again, or sorry about that.
My bad,
Before
guys.
before the crash, the housing market crash, even at that time, right before, there was houses at a certain number that wasn't really even that much, and you really could, if you was working at full time at McDonald's and stuff, you actually could make it neat. And I go, if you couldn't, you must have been spending your money elsewhere, which we do sometimes, because we indulge a little bit and do these little things here and there, which is okay, like we human and whatnot. But I go to say that you couldn't afford is a different thing. That's the I think status of this topic. And I go, nowadays, affordability, we talking over $500,000 for a house in California. Big difference from
Oh yeah.
now of that till the housing market crash till before then. Even before then, when everybody, cause no. First and foremost, things were a bit different during those times that people do not acknowledge. And I'm going, truth is the truth. And the fact of the matter is, I'll say it if nobody else say it, because I ain't heard it much. Biggest problem, I don't care if you're a male or a female, does not matter, does not make a difference. Accountability. What do I mean by accountability? Stop looking at all this, entertainment business and stuff like that. But really go back to that time and look at the wages that was really being made at that time and tell me you really could not afford a house in comparison to now. Like compare the two. From way back of like we in 2025 now, right? Compare year 2025 to like I don't know 1995.
So you
I swear.
My bad. Let me chime in real quick. So you could afford a home with McDonald's, but you have to have a second wage. You had to have you couldn't just and that was in the 1950s, 1960s. But you couldn't just alone. No, you had to have like a mortgage, and you had to have like a second income.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that mathematical equation I kind of put out there halfway. Most houses and stuff wasn't over 200,000 way back then.
Yep.
Like I'm talking about big houses, not something small.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, that is a difference. Now you can most definitely get something better. If you had McDonald's and another income, you could get something better than we could now. Now, especially in California and Los Angeles or uh, anywhere in California for the most part, our homes is trash. Take the money that we pay for a freaking home in LA and take that shit to Texas. You'll be living lavish. You'll get you a nice home.
Oh yeah. I found out for what my mom pays for her house. Basically, if she was to move to Atlanta, she could get a 7-story house. Which again, this was years ago. I don't know if it's like that now, but yeah, that's how it was years ago. Like when she paid for her house, go to Atlanta, it's a 7-story.